Activating scabskin leathers is a decision. The variance it can entail is not forced on you, it is the outcome of a decision you make. Making good decisions includes knowing when to activate scabskin leathers. In general, this card is activated far too often. The optimal number of times it should be activated per game is 0. But you know what? That's not going to stop me from rolling them bones. I'm not gonna lie, I may have lost a dice doing that. Hang on, who left this mess here? Oh, oops. Hang on, I gotta clean this up. Be right back. Ah, much better. It was you, wasn't it? You made that mess. Hello and welcome back to my workshop. Today we have a little fun deck tech we're gonna do. A fun little UPF deck I played in my last UPF game. Featuring a hot subject right now, Kayo, though not the one everyone's talking about. We're talking about Kayo Berserker Runt, the OG, the classic, the roll dice and find out what happens. Because, hey, I like rolling dice, and I don't have any dice on me. Pasha. Kayo is a brute young hero from Crucible of War, and technically the second brute in the game. Though some people might have forgot about him, given that the new KO is ripping up the meta. Whenever you play an attack action card with 6 or more base attack, you roll a 6-sided die. If you roll a 1 or 4, half the attack, rounded down. If you roll a 5 or 6, you double it. Which is pretty powerful if you can pull it off. It's a really hard, well, it's all luck based. It's kind of inconsistent to pull it off, but when you do pull it off, it actually feels really good. Going on the meme, we are going to run Rugged Roller, and if you followed me on Twitter, or X, you've probably seen I had some trouble getting this card, as I did not pull one from Dusk Till Dawn. And when I ordered one, it didn't show up in time. Don't know what happened, but hey, luckily Fab TCG Cards, not a sponsor, ships these out really quick. You order from him, you're getting it in a week. We got the cold foil. Rugged Roller is an interesting weapon. It's a very simple cost 1 to attack for 6, but it only can be used if you roll 6 on a die. Luckily, we're going to roll a lot of dice, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. I actually won one game using it and struggled to survive another game using it. So, Rugged Roller giveth, Rugged Roller taketh away. We are running one of 2 arm pieces. Here it is. Gambler's Gloves, an old favorite of Brutes, and Skull Crushers, an Everfest arm piece that if you roll a 5 or a 6, your next attack gets +1, or your Brute attacks gain +1. So all your Brute attacks, that's pretty cool. However, if you roll a 1, it's destroyed. This arm piece goes away. And in my first pod, I ran Skull Crushers, and I did roll a 1. Not on turn 1, like turn 2 or something, and this went away. Gambler's Gloves is the better option if you want to be more consistent. Gambler's Gloves is a one-time effect where you can destroy it to re-roll a die roll. Combine that with KO Specialization, which we'll get to later, and you pretty much guarantee yourself a high number. If you want to meme it, go for the Skull Crushers. If you want to be more consistent, go with the Gambler's Gloves. Either way, you have a fun time. For the leg piece, we are going to run Scabskin Leathers. There was some debate about this card a while ago, but it's an interesting card. It blocks for 3, so block 2 +1, battle worn, and as a once per turn action, you can roll a 6-sided die, gain action points from the number you rolled, divided by 2, rounded down, meaning that if you rolled a 1, you have 0 action points. But if you roll 6, you have 3. And I did roll a 6 with this a few times, so pretty cool. For our chest piece, we are going to run the Backbone Strapping. Just a simple, similar to the Scab Skins, only for resources, but you can only do it once. Battle worn 1, so it will block for 1, and then you can destroy it at instant speed to gain anywhere from 0 to 3 resources, depending what you roll. Knucklehead is mostly there for the block. You could replace this card with anything, but since I am running a dice roll deck and we want as much options to dice roll as possible for our rugged roller, Knucklehead is here. It has an interesting effect where you can roll a 6-sided die and increase or decrease your intellect by that number. And I did roll a 6 on it in my last game and got to draw 6 cards, which was pretty cool. However, in my first pod, I did destroy it to try and get a 6 to finish the game, and I rolled a 1. Onto our sideboard, we are running a bit of Null Rune for the annoying wizards. Null Rune Hood, in case we have Kano, Null Rune Robes, Arcane Lantern, and because we can't have Rugged Roller unless it's two-handed, Mandible Claw is just there to replace our weapon. It's not as fun unless you want to play the Degenerate. It's just there because you can swing for 3. Probably could have used Ball Breaker, but I don't think we're discarding a lot. And that is the inventory and the hero. On my original version of this deck, I came to realize I didn't have enough attack actions to actually make the deck fun. So here, in this pile here, it's actually the original cards I had in there. Until I realized I only had like 5 attacks in the deck. So let's move on to the main deck. Well, let's move on to the sideboard. So this is your inventory here. It's not much, just some dice rolls. We have 1 Arc Smash and 2 Bonehead Barrier. They both kind of do the same thing. You roll a 6-sided die. For Arc Smash, you destroy items up to the number rolled. Bonehead Barrier prevents damage up to the number rolled. Basically, it's just a kind of a jank way for Kano, and this is a jank way to handle items. If you're wondering why I only have 1, I literally only have 1. That's why. On to the main deck. We're going to have a lot of dice rolling, waging, clashing, and just general brute degeneracy. So on to our dice roll package. We have 2 copies of Rolling Thunder, a 1-cost action from Everfest that you can increase your next attack, your next brute attack, by the number rolled. It's not bad if you can roll 6. Otherwise, it's a 1 for 1, 1 plus 1. Bad beats is you roll dice. If you roll 4, 5, or 6, your next attack gets plus 5. A little bit better than Rolling Thunder. However, you do have to roll a 4, 5, or 6. The yellow and blue do the same thing, only you have to roll a 5 or a 6 or just a 6. We're just running the reds. High Roller is a card I might cut out. It says that if you have rolled dice, you may intimidate twice. So if you've rolled a 4, 5, or 6 in the red, then you can intimidate someone twice. It never really came up, and this was really just more of a block 3. So it could easily be replaced. And of course, the reason we're playing Dice Roll KO in the first place, KO Specialization, ready to roll, a blue action from Everfest, KO Specialization. If you would roll 1 or more dice this turn, instead, roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. Combine this with Gambler's Gloves, and you're throwing 3 dice around, guaranteeing you get a high number. Unless you get 3 Snake Eyes. Since we're running the KO Specialization, we might as well run the other one. Reckless Charge from Heavy Hitters is a KO Specialization. Roll 6-sided dice, and basically it copies Scabskins. With the exception of if you roll 6, you can draw a card. Honestly, this is really just a blue block 3. It never really came up for its effect. But if you don't have Scabskins for some reason, I could see you using that maybe. Moving on to our Clash package, we have 2 copies of Test of Agility. This could probably go, but I figured the block 4 is pretty good, and we have enough attack actions in the deck to win some clashes, hopefully. But believe it or not, I won 0 clashes in my games. Because every time I clashed, I would see Reckless Charge, or Ready to Roll, or Bad Beats, or High Roller. And the one time I actually had a clash where I had an attack action, it was against Victor. He just changed it. Anyways, test of agility. Blocks for 4, clashes. If you win, gain an agility token. Agility tokens destroy, start of your turn. Your first attack gets go again. Clash of agility. Same as test of agility, but can attack. We're running the red only. It's a 2 for 6, block 3. Clash of might. Similar to Clash of agility, only for might tokens. Might tokens destroy at the start of your turn. Your first attack gets +1. We are running a full rainbow of wage agility. Wage agility is a hybrid card, a 3 for 7, 6, and 5, that when you attack with it, you may wager a agility token with them. Wager meaning that you bet that your attack will hit, and since you're playing KO, you pretty much have, if you roll a 5 or a 6, there's a high chance it'll hit unless you're playing against Guardian. I did get these buffed to 14, and actually higher than that with Rolling Thunder. We are also going to run almost a full rainbow of Wage Might, only 1 blue. The blues are really just there for the pitch. Same thing, when you wager a Might token. This also came in for a lot, and I got a few Might tokens off of that. Moving on to our fun package here. We are running Life of the Party and Crazy Brew. Life of the Party is there because Crazy Brew's in the deck. Crazy Brew's in the deck because Crazy Brew rolls dice. Crazy Brew is an item from Welcome to Wraith that, as an item, you do have to play it first. That's where Scab Skins comes in handy. Get the action points to play it. You can roll a dice. So action, destroy this, roll dice. If you roll 1 or 2, you lose 2 health. Roll 3 or 4, you gain 2 health. Roll a 5 or 6, gain 2 resources, 2 action points, and your next attack is +2. I had 2 of these in my first pod, and I was at the situation at 4 health where I could have rolled myself to death. And I didn't die. I rolled 4 in both of them, but I couldn't swing my weapon because I didn't roll 6. Life of the Party, it's here because we can destroy Crazy Brew from the field or our hand to have this gain all modes and not pay for its cost. So this is a 2 for 4, but if you destroy Crazy Brew, it's 0, and it will gain, when this hits, gain 2 life. This gets +2 attack, and it has go again. Otherwise, if you play it normally, you have to randomly choose, and yeah, it's just kind of fun card to play. Finally, we have our, well, not quite finally, there's something at the end, but next we have our meme package, or our UPF package, I should say. This is a UPF deck, meaning that we have more than one opponent. We want to have fun. We want some jank. We are going to run City Xmas Present because we're going to put a cracked bauble on someone's deck. We're going to run Good Deeds Don't Go Unnoticed because why not? This is the UPF card. A lot of stuff happens in this card. It's an aura at the start of each hero's turn. You choose one. Either they draw a card, they gain a resource, they gain a health, or their next attack is +1. And then when it comes to your turn, for any time a hero has done any of those, you will gain that. Note that you only gain it once. So if everyone draws a card, you don't then draw 4 cards or 3 cards. You only draw 1. So it's best to spread it around so you get more of that from that. Organian Tome, obviously, this card should be in every UPF deck. If it's not in your UPF deck, you're not building a UPF deck. Organian Tome is, when you play it, draw a card, and then for every Gorganian Tome in the graveyards, you draw an extra card. Be a nice person, play it first, or be degenerate and wait for someone else to play theirs. I actually got to draw 2 cards off of this in my last pod. Coax a Commotion, because UPF. This card, 0 for 4, doesn't have go again, but if it hits, which most people let it hit, everyone will create a Quicken token, draw a card, and gain 1 health. But you get to choose which of these 3 everyone gets. As in, you can say everyone draws a card, gets a Quicken token, but no one gains health. You can just say everyone gains 1 health. That'd be kind of like the ultimate troll move. Or you could say everyone only gets a Quicken token. The options are limited and limitless. And then this round's on me. if you're playing UPF, you want this card in the deck. It's kind of expensive because it's kind of a meta card, but at the cost of 1, everyone draws a card, and attacks against you have -1. Go again. And it's a blue block 3. And finally, we're playing Brute. So obviously, we gotta be a little degenerate. We have 2 copies of Reckless Swing, because why would you not put this in a Brute deck? Reckless Swing is a Brute defense reaction, and it's the reason you play Brute for meta reasons. When you block with this, when you play it, discard a random card. If the card discarded has 6 or more attack, deal 2 damage to the attacking a hero. I did finish off one opponent using this card, and the other time I didn't have a card to discard, but I needed to live. And it blocks for 4. So that was a deck I played, and it did really good. I got second to last in my first pod, where I just had to get I was struggling to roll dice to get a 6 so I could swing my rugged beater at Victor, because I had him. He was dead to rights. All I had to do was hit him one more time. No cards in hand, but I could not roll a 6. And I don't know. And then in the second game, Rugged Roller did win the game. Rugged Roller swing. The opponent could only block like 3 of it, and I was like, oh wow, Rugged Roller for game. Believe it or not, I swing this weapon more than once. So hey, doesn't mean it's a meta choice. Let's look at what I originally had in the deck, because when I realized I didn't have enough attack actions, I took a lot of stuff out. Well, 7 cards. So I was running more of a wager package here. So I had 2 copies of Money Where Your Mouth Is Blue. Your next attack is +1 and wager a gold. I had 2 copies of Clearing Bellows. I think I just put that in because I couldn't think of anything else. It intimidates, go again, that's all it does. And then 1 copy of Yellow Bad Beats. And 2 copies of High Roller Blue. Given how useful High Roller Red was, I'm kind of glad I took the blues out, because they didn't do anything. And pretty much I replaced all of these with the, what is that called again? Wage Agility and Wage Might, which is why there's only 1 Wage Might Blue. And that's the KO Berserker Runt UPF deck. Roll Wage Clash, and you too can have fun. It actually does better than you think it would. Yes, it is fully luck dependent. I did roll a bunch of 4 through 1s, and my attacks came in for 3. And the funny thing about wager is you have to choose to wager before you roll, which makes sense. It'd be kind of cheating if you could just choose to wager after you roll, but you have to play the card, choose to wager, and then roll. And well, it's UPF. I wagered pretty much every time. Why not? Because it doesn't matter if you win or lose. All that matters is you have fun. I wish I had a dice I could roll, but oh wait. Nope, I don't have a dice, but let's give a shout out to one of the great YouTube creators out there. Uh-oh, come back here, you. Ted. TCG Ted, to be exact. This doesn't have numbers on it. This is his armor dice. But hey, it's a dice. If I roll Ted, that's a 6. Come on. 1. Goodbye, arm piece. So yeah, that's the KO UPF deck. If you're playing UPF, consider KO. He's fun. Not the new KO is fine. There's nothing wrong with new KO. And with the Armory deck coming out soon, I am recording this the night before the Armory deck comes out. It's not a bad idea to look at some of these old janky heroes and just have some fun. That's what UPF is for. Anyways, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go work on something else, which is probably the discourse on the Twitter about the KO deck. I've been the Jank Mechanologist. Rolling dice. Have a good day. I'm gonna work on something else.